Hello and welcome to the Remote Revolution, a podcast by Virtual Mojo. This is where we explore how modern businesses are transforming the way they work through remote teams, virtual support, and smarter operational strategies. In each episode, we bring you insights, conversations, and practical ideas to help entrepreneurs, leaders, and growing companies build efficient, scalable, and future-ready organizations. If you're looking to work smarter, scale faster, and unlock the power of remote talent, you're in the right place. Let's begin.
Welcome to Season 1, Episode 11 of The Remote Revolution, with your host Aneeq and Umaima as our guest. Today we talk about platform instability, what Upwork and Fiverr changes mean for businesses that depend on them.
Thanks for having me. I mean, this is a topic that is just so incredibly urgent right now.
It really is. Imagine this. You wake up on a Tuesday, right? Coffee in hand. You open your laptop and you discover that your entire design team, your lead developer and your virtual assistant are they're gone.
Oof, just vanished.
Exactly. And not because they quit, not because they got poached by a competitor. It's because some automated algorithm silently decided your account violated a new policy overnight.
Yeah, and suddenly you are completely locked out of your own workforce.
Right. So if you're running a business right now and you rely entirely on these third-party freelance platforms to keep your operations moving, consider this deep dive your official screaming wake-up call.
Oh, absolutely. It's becoming one of the most massive yet completely hidden risks for scaling companies.
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of founders are just blissfully asleep at the wheel here. So our mission today with these sources is to unpack what platform instability actually is, why we so eagerly walk right into this trap, and most importantly, how you can stop renting your business infrastructure and start owning it.
I love that framing because it really is a fundamental miscalculation of risk. We tend to view these marketplace platforms as, our partners in growth.
Right, because they make it so easy.
Exactly. They give you the interface, the global talent pool, they handle the international payments. It feels like a partnership. The reality buried in our research today is that when you build your daily operations entirely inside their walled gardens, you're delegating your business continuity to a tech entity that, they have zero investment in your survival.
Zero. But before we get into the pure doom and gloom of how these platforms could just wreck a company, we have to talk about the psychology. Like, why do so many of us voluntarily hand over all our leverage?
That's a great question.
Because nobody starts a business saying, gee, I hope a faceless tech giant controls my fate.
Right.
The research points to one overwhelming culprit, which is just absolute convenience.
Oh, the trap of convenience is so real.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the sheer friction of building an internal global hiring system from scratch.
It's a nightmare.
It is. If you try to do it yourself, you have to source candidates across different time zones. You have to verify their skills, navigate international tax laws.
Taxes. Yeah.
And set up cross-border payment gateways that won't just eat you alive in exchange rates. For a founder with a small team, that is a terrifying mountain to climb.
So the platforms step in and offer this irresistible alternative. Instant gratification. You type in a keyword, you compare portfolios, you click a shiny green button, and work begins.
Boom!
Done.
It's literally the equivalent of finding a highly convenient, fully furnished apartment in the exact trendy neighborhood you want to live in. You just show up with your suitcase.
Right, you don't have to buy a couch, you don't have to hook up the Wi-Fi. Exactly. But here is the catastrophic trade-off. You are building your entire life on rented digital land.
Yes, rented land.
At any moment, your digital landlord can double your rent, change the locks, or suddenly declare that you're no longer allowed to use the kitchen, and you have no recourse.
None at all.
But I want to push back on this a little bit. Are business owners just being lazy here? Like, seriously, are we trading total control over our own core operations just to save, a few hours on setting up an independent onboarding process?
Well, I wouldn't call it laziness. I call it the illusion of efficiency.
Okay, fair.
When you're a founder wearing 10 different hats, managing product, sales, marketing, the path of least resistance feels like a survival tactic, not laziness. The platform solves a very acute pain point, which is finding someone to do the work right this second.
Right. I need a graphic designer by 3 p.m.
Exactly. The trap is that this short-term Band-Aid morphs into a long-term foundation without any strategic thought. You don't realize you've surrendered the keys to the castle until the rules of the game abruptly change.
And when those rules change, the algorithm attacks. Let's move from the theoretical to the reality of what this instability actually looks like when it hits a business.
Well, that's not pretty.
No, it's tangible operational chaos. So what are the actual mechanisms here? How do these platforms turn on the people using them?
It manifests in a few really destructive ways. Let's start with service fee hikes. A platform might just decide to increase their cut of a project from, say, 10%, 20% overnight.
Just double it.
Yep. They update their terms of service, send out a mass email that you probably ignore.
Oh, totally. Straight to the trash folder.
Great. And suddenly, if you have a team of 10 long-term freelancers, your profit margins are completely decimated. And you had no seat at the table to negotiate that.
That's brutal.
But then you have the algorithmic updates, which honestly are far more insidious.
Right, the shadow banning. How does that actually work beneath the surface? Because I've heard horror stories of a business owner logging in on a Monday, and their go-to graphic designer is just effectively ghosted by the platform search engine.
Yeah, to understand that, you need a metaphor. Think of the platform's algorithm like a highly aggressive casino floor manager.
Okay.
The manager's job isn't to help you, the gambler, win. The manager's job is to maximize the house's overall take. In the platform world, their revenue models are often heavily front-loaded.
Meaning they take a bigger cut up front.
Exactly. They might take a 20% cut on the first $500 of a contract, but only a 5% cut if the contract goes over $10,000.
Wait, let me stop you there. Are you saying the algorithm actually has a financial incentive to break up long-term successful working relationships?
In many cases, yes. The platform makes significantly more money on high-turnover initial matchmaking fees. Furthermore, they want freelancers to buy visibility.
Oh, like boosting their profiles.
Right. If your trusted designer is getting plenty of steady work from you, they aren't paying the platform to boost their profile. So the algorithm quietly suppresses them in the search results and rotates newer, desperate talent to the front page.
Talent that's willing to pay premium fees to be seen.
You got it.
That is wild. They are actively hiding your own team from you to force new transactions.
It's crazy.
But there's an even worse scenario in the data we looked at, which is abrupt account restrictions. Explain the mechanics of getting locked out. Because people naturally assume a human being is reviewing these things, right?
That is the single most dangerous misconception out there. The surveillance and moderation on these platforms are overwhelmingly run by automated bots.
Just scripts running in the background?
Yep. They use keyword flagging. If you type the word email, invoice, or pay in a chat message, a bot flags it as an attempt to take the work off platform.
Wow.
And instantly, an automated script freezes your account. There is no human reviewing the context. You could be locked out of your entire workforce, unable to access project files, communicate with your team, or even process payments.
And what happens when you try to appeal? Because obviously you'd message support.
You submit a ticket and you get an automated reply from another bot. You are trapped in an endless loop of algorithmic bureaucracy while your business just grinds to a halt. The operational cost of that disruption is staggering. You've got delayed deliverables, angry clients, and the terrifying prospect of having to start your team building entirely from scratch because you lost access to all your data.
Let me pose a pointed question to you listening right now. If the platform you use changed its rules tomorrow, if it doubled its fees or locked your account, would your business survive the week?
It's a scary thought.
It is. Because if you are hesitating, you are trusting a faceless tech algorithm with the literal survival of your company. It's absurd. You wouldn't let a random computer program decide if your physical office doors unlock in the morning. Yet we let an algorithm dictate whether we can even communicate with our own staff.
The fundamental truth here is that your need for a stable, long-term relationship with a contractor is entirely contrary to a marketplace's goal of keeping you endlessly browsing, bidding, and transacting.
Here is where this dynamic gets incredibly interesting, though. We naturally assume the platforms are only squeezing the business owners, the clients who pay the bills. But this instability actually creates a massive shared frustration with the talent we are trying to hire.
It really is a mutual hostage situation.
Yes. Freelancers are equally victimized by this environment.
Absolutely. From their perspective, an algorithm tweak isn't just an inconvenience, it destroys their visibility and their livelihood. A sudden fee change directly cuts into their rent money.
It reminds me of a truly terrible dating app. Think about it. Both people are on the app. They're both completely exhausted by the hidden microtransactions. They hate the algorithm that keeps hiding their messages.
Right, they just want to connect.
Exactly. They both desperately just want to exchange phone numbers, delete the app forever, and go get a coffee in the real world. But if they try to type out their phone number, the app literally threatens to ban them permanently.
It's a very controversial business model.
It is. They are holding highly productive working relationships hostage under the threat of digital execution just to keep extracting their 20%.
But you have to ask, if both sides want to leave, why don't they?
The surveillance.
Exactly. The platforms actively monitor all communications, they screen attachments, and they deploy highly aggressive terms of service to prevent what they call circumvention.
Right.
But that shared pain reveals a massive hidden opportunity for business owners. The top-tier freelancers, the ones you actually want to keep, want to build direct off-platform relationships with reliable clients just as badly as you need the stability of working with them.
Okay, let's pivot to the practical application of all this. Since both you and your freelancers are looking for an exit strategy, how do we actually pull it off? We need a tactical escape plan.
We do.
Our deep dive into the research provided a highly specific list of things to try. The entire focus here is on reducing dependency and reclaiming operational leverage. Let's break down the execution.
The first, and honestly most immediate action step, is to diversify. You absolutely have to stop relying on a single talent marketplace.
It seems obvious, but people don't do it.
It's basic risk management, yet it is wildly ignored in the remote workspace. If 100% of your contractors come from Upwork, you have a single point of failure. The practical step this week is to test at least one alternative talent source.
But even if I find someone on a different platform or a niche job board, I'm still relying on an external inbox to reach them.
Which leads into the second, and probably most critical, step of the escape plan.
Yes. Building your own database. You have to stop treating the platform's messaging dashboard as your permanent Rolodex. The recommendation is to immediately build an independent CRM.
Let's define that really quickly for anyone who isn't living in sales software all day. A CRM is a customer relationship management tool, right? Just a centralized hub where you keep track of contacts.
Exactly, though in this case, it's a contractor relationship management tool. And it doesn't need to be expensive software. A simple spreadsheet works to start.
Just a Google Sheet. Yeah. You need external records of every freelancer you work with. Their full names, personal email addresses, time zones, a link to their external portfolio, their rates, and a history of the projects they've done for you.
I am going to be highly critical of business owners for a second here. Our research notes that failing to do this is a common mistake, but to me, it is borderline negligent.
It's definitely risky.
It is wild that people run multi-million-dollar remote operations and do not possess a basic spreadsheet with their own workers' email addresses. If the platform goes offline for an hour, they have literally no way to contact their lead developer. Comfort is the absolute enemy of preparedness here.
Well, the platforms intentionally design their interfaces to be a frictionless CRM. They remember all the project history, the files, and the communication, so you naturally don't feel the urge to document it elsewhere.
Let me ask the dangerous question, though. Is keeping that spreadsheet a violation of the platform's terms of service? Won't I get banned just for asking for an email?
There is a massive legal and operational nuance here. Taking a contract off platform within the exclusionary period, meaning paying them directly to avoid fees right after you met them, is usually a violation of their terms, and yes, that can get you banned.
Okay, so don't do that.
Right. However, keeping independent backup records for business continuity or migrating relationships that have passed the platform's official opt-out window is entirely different. You have to read the fine print.
So there's a legal way out.
Many platforms have a buyout fee or an expiration date after maybe 2 years where you can take the relationship direct legally.
Which flows perfectly into the third step, taking ownership of your systems. Because once you have their email, you actually need a way to work with them.
Right. You must migrate the actual operational mechanics to software you control. Document your internal workflows. When you hire someone, how do you integrate them into your company's Slack or Microsoft Teams?
Right, bringing them into your house.
Exactly. How do you process their invoices using independent tools like Deal or Wise or basic bank transfers? How do you track project milestones using Asana or Jira instead of the platform's built-in dashboard?
The mindset shift here is that if you own the system, the platform is demoted to a mere lead generation tool.
Yes.
It is not the factory floor where the actual work gets done. You use them as a matchmaking service, but you pull the talent into your ecosystem immediately.
That brings us to the final piece of the escape plan, which is redefining quality. When companies try to move off-platform, the biggest point of friction is losing the safety net of those 5-star ratings and reviews. We use those ratings as a crutch.
I completely agree, but I rely on those ratings. When I see a freelancer with hundreds of 5-star reviews, I feel safe.
Yeah.
Why is that a bad thing?
Because a 5-star review on a gig platform doesn't measure quality. It measures compliance.
Wow, okay. Unpack that.
The psychology of platform ratings is heavily skewed by the fear of retaliation. Clients give 5 stars because they don't want the freelancer to leave a bad review on their client profile.
Oh, I've definitely done that.
See? It becomes a mutual extortion racket. A 5-star rating guarantees absolutely nothing about whether that person will mesh with your specific company culture, your communication style, or your technical stack.
So the platform's rating system is just a lazy proxy for trust.
Completely.
Yeah.
High-quality work is generated by your internal processes, your ability to write a crystal clear brief, your ability to set expectations, and your framework for evaluating the initial deliverables.
That makes total sense.
Once you build your own vetting and evaluation framework, you realize how utterly meaningless the platform metrics are.
This entire deep dive really forces a perspective shift. We are so conditioned to bow to the convenience of these digital giants. But the stark reality is this: if you do not own your infrastructure, you do not own your business.
That's the bottom line.
To summarize the core philosophy we've pulled from all this research today, freelance platforms are unparalleled tools for discovery. They are fantastic for finding a needle in a global haystack, but they make absolutely terrible foundations for your daily operations.
Use them, leverage their global reach, but do not depend on them completely.
Exactly. Reclaim your operational autonomy.
By diversifying your talent pipeline, aggressively maintaining an independent database, owning your onboarding mechanics, and trusting your own quality control processes over arbitrary star ratings, you insulate your business.
You build a resilient remote operation that survives regardless of what some tech giant's algorithm decides to do tomorrow.
Exactly.
As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a brand new, fairly provocative thought to mull over. We've spent this entire time analyzing the risks of platforms changing their internal rules, their algorithms, their fees, their shadow banning. But we haven't even touched the external existential threat. Look at the growing global movement to change the legal classification of gig workers.
Oh, the labor laws.
Exactly. Governments around the world, from California to the European Union, are pushing legislation to reclassify independent contractors as full-time employees. If one of these sweeping labor laws passes and survives the courts, it will force platforms like Upwork and Fiverr to fundamentally restructure their entire business models overnight.
Their current models might become legally unviable.
The compliance costs alone would shatter their margins.
Oh, without a doubt.
So your access to global talent wouldn't just be severed algorithmically, it would be severed legally. If you haven't built your own independent, legally compliant talent networks now, a single government regulation could act as the ultimate algorithm update that permanently wipes out your workforce.
It's a huge blind spot for a lot of companies.
So ask yourself, are you perfectly happy living in a fully furnished digital apartment just waiting for the landlord or the government to change the locks? Or is it time to finally pour the concrete and start building your own house? Thank you all for joining us in this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you for listening to The Remote Revolution. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and share it with other professionals who are building the future of work. To learn more about how Virtual Mojo helps businesses grow with highly trained virtual assistants and remote support teams, visit www.virtualmojo.com. For inquiries or collaborations, reach out to us at contact@virtualmojo.com. Until next time, keep building smarter systems and embracing the future of work.